Got on television to say the tapes exist. I don't really know or trust that, because they was trying to say he had a tape with one of the bodyguards.
Reported this conduct to either the authorities, that is the police, or to hospitals.
Payne fell from the 3rd floor of his hotel room. That a hotel employee is suspected of giving Payne the day he died.
Everybody get scared to talk because they probably got something to hide. I ain't got nothing to hide.
I don't have nothing to hide.
I was in there Harlem shaking, doing all of that stuff, but it wasn't, come on, whatever.
Diddy's personal trainer claims he was drugged, left defenseless, and treated like a party favor. And allegedly, it was Puff Daddy himself behind it all. Surprised? Here's the story. In June 2022, shortly after Diddy won the Lifetime Achievement Award at the BET Awards, he hosted a lavish party at his $40 million Los Angeles mansion. Among the invitees was a personal trainer we'll call John Doe, who was invited after one of Diddy's designer friends showed him John's workout videos. Impressed, Diddy extended an invite to the star-studded event. But before stepping into the mansion, John says he was asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement, preventing him from revealing anything he saw or heard during the night. Things only got stranger from there. Once inside, John was handed a drink, a tequila soda with cranberry juice. He drank it, started socializing, and soon began feeling unusually dizzy, weak, and disoriented. According to his account, that's when a business associate of Diddy's led him into a smaller, dimly lit room away from the main party. Inside, he says he saw a dozen people, including some famous faces, engaged in explicit activities. At this point, feeling even more out of control, John suspected he had been drugged.
Got on television to say the tapes exist. I don't really know or trust that, because they was trying to say he had a tape with one of the bodyguards and this lady that came out. So we don't know what to think until we actually see that, and we get that version. You remember we had that bootleg version of R. Kelly tape?
Yeah, I remember that.
They don't even bootleg. Yo, they don't even bootleg no more, man. So it's gonna be hard to figure it out if it does exist.
Do you believe the guy in the tape is white?
If he's bigger than Diddy, and he's not none of the names that I said, probably so.
According to John Doe's account, at the height of feeling disoriented, he found himself in a terrifying situation. He claims that Diddy approached him, took off his pants, and allegedly performed a non-consensual act of those. It didn't stop there. Court documents state that Diddy supposedly ordered John to perform on another individual, only identified as Celebrity A. What makes it even more unsettling, Celebrity A is said to have spit in John's mouth during this time. But that wasn't the end of it. John claims he was then directed by Diddy to engage with yet another person at the party, also allegedly under Diddy's influence. At this point, John describes feeling completely unable to resist, almost as though he'd lost control of his body. The lawsuit alleges that his physical impairment left him defenseless. His state wasn't just a result of the shock or atmosphere. John believes he was given gamma-hydroxybutyrate, a depressant known for its role in rendering people vulnerable, typically in party or social settings. Further on, he even provided a photo of a container he says was used by Diddy's team to administer this drug into alcoholic drinks. Naturally, this lawsuit has garnered major attention, sparking questions and media frenzy. Diddy's team hasn't stayed silent, though. His representatives have labeled this case as a publicity stunt by the attorney behind it, alleging that the goal is media exposure rather than truth. The team even pointed out the lawyer's highly visible press appearances and a hotline number as proof of his media-centric motives. The statement they released emphasizes that Diddy and his legal team firmly believe in the judicial process, stating that they are fully confident in clearing his name. The message was clear. Diddy, a father of 7, insists he has never assaulted or trafficked anyone under any circumstances. As it stands, both sides have drawn their lines, and while the truth may unfold in court, the allegations alone have stirred Hollywood and sparked heated discussions about the reality behind some of these exclusive parties. So, what do you think? Are we looking at some unexpected headlines or just another high-profile lawsuit with all eyes on it? Now let's rewind for a second. Earlier this month, Liam Payne's unexpected death left fans and friends utterly stunned. He reportedly fell from a third-floor hotel room in Buenos Aires, and when ABC News and TMZ looked deeper, they found something concerning: traces of a drug cocktail known as pink coke in his system. Now, pink coke isn't just a fun-sounding party drug. It's this blend of hardcore substances, methamphetamine, ketamine, MDMA, crack cocaine, and benzodiazepine, all packed together in a single hit. And let's be real, that's not something anyone takes lightly. It's a concoction that's got enough punch to knock out, well, just about anyone, and has been linked to some seriously risky behavior. Liam's passing with that cocktail in his system has sparked
reported this conduct to either the authorities, that is the police, or to hospitals. Found in their system, weird you probably never heard of. One in particular that continues to pop up is a xylazine or trank, which based on our research is known as a horse tranquilizer.
Tony, were all of the auditioning because they were musicians?
All seeking either TV or some sort of music career with promises of, we're gonna make you a star. Instead, basically did things to them such that they don't want to have anything to do with the entertainment industry ever again. But this individual, who was 9 years old at the time, was taken to an audition in New York City with Bad Boy Records. This individual was
loads of questions, and fans are left wondering how such a substance even entered the picture. Now here's where it gets weirder. A lawsuit recently filed against Diddy accuses him of having a personal connection with this very same pink coke cocktail. Allegedly, Diddy required his staff members to carry this pink coke around, not just for show, but actively bringing it into his inner circle. Yes, we're talking about an explicit request to have this cocktail on hand, making it seem like it was part of the party essentials. If this is true, it's painting a pretty intense picture of what goes on behind closed doors. Now, considering how high profile and honestly kind of polished these events usually appear on the surface, it's a pretty wild claim. But here's where things start getting sketchy. The sources behind this claim say that not only was pink coke present, but the environment around it was intense enough to create, let's say, some unique pressures. Imagine working for a boss who's allegedly telling you to keep highly illegal substances on hand. Not your average 9 to 5, right? The allegations suggest that Diddy was deep into this, adding a whole new level of darkness to what could otherwise seem like just a glam party life. So we're left wondering, could these elite celebrity scenes really be hosting this kind of stuff under the radar, or are these claims purely sensational? And the thing is, we still don't know the full scope of what was found in Liam's system. Toxicology reports aren't always immediate, and final details might take weeks. Until then, the mystery surrounding his passing is left open, and so is this lawsuit's impact on Diddy's image. The idea of stars engaging in this hidden, dangerous world of drug use is one thing, but being linked directly to something associated with a tragic event like Liam's death, that takes it to another level. So do you think there's any truth to these allegations, or could this all just be part of the scandal machine? The allegations swirling around Diddy are wild, to say the least. The latest complaint comes from Rodney "Lil Rod" Jones, who's not just any bystander. He was Diddy's videographer and producer, so he was right in the middle of all the action. Lil Rod is claiming that Diddy didn't just host parties, but that he also created a culture where drug use was pretty much part of the job. According to him, there was a whole list of substances allegedly circulating among Diddy's business operations. And we're not talking aspirin here. We're looking at everything from coke and GHB to ecstasy, marijuana gummies, and Tusi, which is basically another name for pink coke. And here's where it gets even crazier. Jones claims this wasn't just for the party crew, but extended to all types of staff, like housekeepers, chefs, and even butlers. Imagine signing up to work as a chef and finding out you're also expected to carry around a party kit. Someone just said nice.
Payne fell from the third floor of his hotel room that a hotel employee is suspected of giving Payne the day he died.
It's a you may have never heard about, but is now at the center of two headline-making stories. It is called Pink, and it was allegedly used to get embattled music mogul Sean Diddy Combs' wild parties going.
This morning, we are getting a glimpse at what authorities in Argentina believe contributed to his death. Sources tell ABC News multiple substances were found in Payne's system, including pink, a pop.
P. Diddy. I went over to say hello to P. Diddy, and Jay-Z was there. P. Diddy. So I went out to shake his hand, and I shook his hand, and I was, oh, nice to meet you, and he's going, and his bodyguard just like shook me like this, and I went flying across the room, and I was like...
But wait, it doesn't stop there. Jones' complaint is just one of a whole wave of legal troubles that's been hitting Diddy lately. Earlier, his ex, Cassie Ventura, filed her own lawsuit accusing him of abuse, which added a ton of fuel to the fire. Diddy's legal team has been aggressively denying these claims, with his lawyer calling Jones nothing more than a con man who's out to grab easy money. They're sticking to the story that this is all a scheme for cash, and have said they've got proof that'll discredit Jones entirely. But here's the thing. The complaint Jones filed came right after federal raids on Diddy's properties in LA and Miami, which is pretty eyebrow-raising timing. Prosecutors claim that these raids uncovered evidence of Diddy's infamous freak-offs, basically days-long parties allegedly fueled by drugs and coercion. The story is that these weren't your average parties, but involved people who, let's just say, might not have been entirely on board with what was happening. To make things even more intense, Diddy's facing federal charges around racketeering, trafficking, and transportation to engage in illicit activities. He's actually in jail, awaiting trial on these charges. Meanwhile, his kids have come out in support of him, releasing a statement that stands by their dad despite all these mounting allegations. Whether that's a show of family loyalty or something else is anyone's guess, but it's definitely adding layers to this whole situation. Currently 54 years old, the music mogul and father of 7 has found himself in a really serious situation, facing multiple federal charges that have landed him in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center. He's pleaded not guilty to all the accusations, but this isn't just about a minor brush with the law. He's being held without bail as he waits for his trial, which is set to kick off on May 5th, 2025. That's a long wait, especially considering what's at stake. For a guy who spent his life in the spotlight, this is a huge and very public ordeal. But Diddy's family isn't staying silent. His eldest son, Quincy, who's 33, recently took to Instagram to share a heartfelt message that really shows the toll this situation is taking on them all. In this post, shared on October 22nd, Quincy lays it all out there. He talks about how devastating this past month has been for their family, how they've felt the weight of public judgment, and how the swirling accusations and conspiracy theories on social media have only made things worse. But despite all of that, Quincy and his siblings are standing firm, united in their support for their dad. In his own words, Quincy says, "We hold on to the truth, knowing it will prevail, and nothing will break the strength of our family." He's not just brushing off the gravity of the charges. It sounds like he's well aware of the seriousness, but he's also putting his faith in the belief that the truth will eventually clear his dad's name. And this wasn't just a solo post either. Quincy actually listed all of his siblings as collaborators on this post, which was paired with a photo of the whole family sitting on a big inflatable bounce house. Since the news of Diddy's arrest hit headlines, it's like a ripple effect has pulled several celebrities into the public conversation, especially those who've been close to him at some point. One of these figures is Nick Cannon, the ever-vocal TV host and performer, who recently shared his own take on the arrest and the swirling rumors. Cannon, who's talked before about attending Diddy's parties from a young age, claims he never saw anything out of the ordinary at these gatherings. In a recent appearance on the No Jumper podcast, Cannon spoke pretty candidly about his own experiences. He mentioned that at Diddy's infamous parties, sometimes called freak-offs by others, he was usually the DJ or would leave around midnight, missing whatever might be going on later in the night. Cannon said, "I'm usually the DJ, so when it's time for me to wrap it up, it's around 12:30, maybe 3 a.m. at the latest." It was almost like he kept himself out of any scenes that could have turned wild. And this wasn't just out of nowhere. Cannon stressed that he wasn't even usually in the house. He stayed outside for the most part, DJing in the backyard. This claim that Cannon didn't witness any of the alleged wild freak-offs wasn't just a passing remark. Cannon was almost making a statement, subtly implying that, despite his proximity to Diddy for years, he hadn't seen the things others now claim happened behind closed doors. When it came to the accusations of child involvement, Cannon seemed genuinely disbelieving, noting that the Diddy he knew was someone trying to turn his life around, a man who wanted to become a responsible father and move past any chaotic lifestyle he may have been known for back in the day. For Cannon, this seemed to be about giving credit to a version of Diddy he believes was trying to improve himself. Cannon's take went even deeper when he shared thoughts on the complicated mix of fame, money, and legacy. He pointed out how being an icon like Diddy, a legendary act, in Cannon's words, comes with its own complications, especially for someone who brands himself as a bad boy. Cannon seemed to hint that a certain reputation follows you, and when things get tough, there's no shortage of people who might enjoy seeing a figure like Diddy knock down a peg. Basically, Cannon seems to be highlighting the double-edged sword of being a larger-than-life personality. For all the advantages fame and money bring, there's a sense that being a bad boy, or even just being a major figure in hip-hop, opens you up to added scrutiny. To Cannon, this thing is almost magnetic. People both respect the legendary status, but also relish any controversy that drags such figures into the mud. In this public statement, Cannon's balancing act was pretty interesting. You see, he made sure to stay neutral, showing loyalty to someone he respects. But he didn't dismiss the allegations outright, nor did he offer excuses. Instead, he seemed to provide a perspective on what it's like to be close to someone like Diddy, who's a complicated figure, someone Cannon sees as a father trying to evolve while still facing scrutiny from every angle. It's also worth noting that Cannon's stance isn't about proving or disproving anything. It's more about saying he didn't personally witness anything incriminating. For Cannon, This boils down to his own experience with Diddy and his impression of the man he's known. And in his opinion, he seems to believe Diddy's overall intentions were, at least at one point, genuine. Whether this perspective will impact public opinion is hard to say, but it's a notable take from a high-profile friend and collaborator who was close enough to have seen the real Diddy, or at least the side of him that he wanted others to see. Now, what do you guys think? Did Diddy do his trainer that bad? Do drop your thoughts in the comment section below. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe for more such content. We'll be back soon with another one. See you then.